Hey, it's Tim Pierce. Here's a video about what I do to get clean fat tones and then fatter and fatter distorted tones as I go up into the gain structure of the amp. Click the link below if you want to check out the full episode on this in the masterclass with some exercises and tabs. I want to talk about how I make a note bloom, how I make clean notes sound fat and sustainy. The key for me is to have an amp that's not compressed sounding, and then to have distortion on but not activated. So watch my volume pedal and I'm going to show you what I mean. So that's the dynamic range that I like to have, and I use my volume pedal a lot because there's a little different tone. If I open the volume pedal and I use the volume knob on the guitar, it's not quite the same sound as that. In this particular situation with the volume knob, there seems to be more transient, which is more spike and less sustain. It's still good, but when I use the volume pedal and I have the knob on the guitar open all the way, it's treble pickup, it seems like the notes last longer. They're fuller, and the top end is not spiky. Check this out. You can still hear the top end, but there's plenty of fatness underneath. As you can see, it's a pretty distorted sound, but it's classic distortion. I'm using my micro amp in front of the amp. That's it, nothing else. And I play really light. That's the other key, is to have a lot of gain on the amp, not activate all that gain, but stay in the zone where distortion is not activated and pick very lightly. That requires a lot of control over here, and that's something I think is really great to practice. To get the control of light picking, that's where you get the really nice, fat, clean sounds in the zone where you haven't activated distortion. So for me, the dynamic range from really quiet and clean to really loud and distorted is here. It's here in just this one sound. And I can get everything I need with the volume pedal and with light picking into heavy picking. With the volume pedal, I don't hear too much transient. I hear plenty of top end, but it's smooth top end. It's not like the top end is jumping out like this. It's staying kind of melted in with the fat tone, the fat sustain. And then you can crank it up and have that too. So I can pretty much get any tone with this very natural sounding uncompressed divided by 13 RSA 23. I have my micro amp in front of it and it's on about 7, so it's about 3/4 of the way up. Then I have this Tom Anderson and it's the bridge pickup. It's a very open sounding P90. I wouldn't even call it distortion, it's gain. And then the clean sound, just open the volume pedal slightly. See, there you can see distortion or gain was activated a little bit. If I stay under that threshold, to me it reads as clean and fat. So the idea is to have control in your right hand to where you can pick accurately, even though things are really turned up, you can pick everything light and even. it's like a butterfly that never changes its attack. A little butterfly that just keeps attacking evenly. And then it moves into a really, really strong snap of the wrist. It's that wrist action that's just like, that's what gives me the attack when I go to the top range of this stuff. There's a bit of forearm in there too. So when I talk about uncompressed amps, I'm talking about the kind of amps that were made a long time ago. Old Fenders, old Voxes, old Marshalls. There were simple circuits. They distorted somewhat when you turned up the gain. At 5, they were pretty distorted. At 10, they were really distorted. When you dimed them, they might be too mushy to use. But there was always a sweet spot in there where you could find the right amount of distortion. And then all of their successors, like the Matchless and the Divided by 13, and all these great amps that are around now, they're not compressed sounding. There's a lot of dynamic range. And then if you want distortion, you can get it from pedals. And of course, if I want a certain kind of lead sound, I plug into my diesel. I use a high gain channel in my diesel. Or the Nailer has a great high gain channel. There are others too, lots of others. But the amps I use for most of my work are these kind of old style amps. So here's a Filmo Sound film projector. And these are very popular guitar amps right now. This one is modified by the champion of Filmo Sound modifications, Austin Hooks, here in LA. And he likes to leave them in the actual film projector box, and partly because then you can use this speaker as a 16 ohm speaker. It's unplugged for now, but you can plug it in. It sounds really cool. The other thing he does that's cool is he takes the projector lens and he makes it into the pilot light. So that's really cool. Here is a simpler version. This was bought off eBay and modified by another friend of mine. You can't get more low-tech than one of these. It just has a volume knob and a tone knob. They sound really good. I think I can demonstrate the same thing that I did with the Divided by 13 and just using a much more low-tech situation and show you that dynamic range in an amp that's much more affordable and easy to get. So I'm amazed at how small this looks when it's outside of its box. So here goes the demonstration. I have my micro amp on, and I'm using a very light nylon pick. This helps actually with the lower range of all this, these stages that we're using. And so I'm going to pick really lightly. I'm going to open up slowly on the volume pedal. So same thing, not quite as much dynamic range, not quite as much, but still the same scenario. And this is a very low-tech amp, just one volume knob, one tone knob, and wasn't even meant to be an amp in the first place. So you can do it with pretty much any simple tube amp, I believe. The other thing about a volume pedal is that I use it as an appendage. It's like a gas pedal in a car. And I use it to hide noise. Let me turn on my green Big Muff. So that's what I get. So I'm constantly on this thing. And I'm hiding noise. It's just the answer for me. I mean, because I really don't want to give people all this stuff in between. Now, even just kind of a regular guitar sound has some noise. And see, so I just use it all the time. It's just like part of my body now. I'm constantly, anytime I'm not playing, it goes back, and I try and make it sound natural. If there's a fade out like that, I make it as natural as possible. So let's go back to the light pick. It kind of helps with this dynamic range thing. I'm trying to get all these tones way down in the low range, in the mid range, and the high range, and then the super top of the high range dynamically. So it's like clean, mid-dirty, dirty, and very dirty. It's a little easier with this nylon pick. This is my lead pick. It's this pointed Dunlop, really heavy with the point on it, because I like it for leads because I can go fast. Pretty fast for me. But this pick in the lower ranges is not quite as forgiving. So I use this really soft nylon pick. And the way I would practice this is whatever amp you have, turn it up really loud, open up the guitar, open up the volume pedal, and try picking really light. Bring the volume pedal back, and you'll find that sweet spot. It'd be a sweeter spot if I tuned my guitar. Let me do that. So turn the amp up, turn the guitar up, and try and play really lightly and get control with a butterfly. Just imagine a butterfly just very accurately tapping the strings. The most important thing is getting control of a light touch with your right hand. I open the volume pedal a little bit. I'm in the clean range, the lower range. And I use this feather light touch. And then I practice making it loud, but controlling when I make it loud. I can do it with the volume pedal, and I can also do it with my hand. So if I open the volume pedal all the way, but it seems like I can do more if I use both the featherlight touch and the volume pedal. So imagine this is a butterfly and it's just tapping the strings very lightly, but in a very even controlled way. And then when you feel like it and you want to make a statement, you start hitting it harder.